This episode of Boomerology Revealed is brought to you by Standard, your best option for mobility products. Be independent with Standard.com.
Boomers. There are 76 million of us just here in the US. We are the biggest generation that ever existed. We were called the me ones, the crazy ones, and boy do we know what that means, don't we? In fact, we have reinvented every single phase of our lives. We were the yuppies, we were the hippies, we like innovation. Well, now we are in the winter of our lives, and I can assure you this is not going to be your average winter. I invite you to join me at Boomerology Revealed every single week so we can figure out how boomers are reshaping this phase of their lives. Join me.
Hey, I'm Shahar, this is Boomerology Revealed TV, and today I have some very special guests with me to talk about being a boomer. So could you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Marilee Guinan.
And I'm Lisa Myers.
I'm Stephanie Wright.
And what do you do in life, Stephanie?
What do I do in life? I do a lot of stuff in life. I love to belly dance. Been belly dancing almost, 10 years now. I love to go camping, hiking, boating, gardening. Gardening is my big thing. I call it my dirt therapy, get my fingers in the dirt. So I just like to be active, like to be out in the public and doing fun things, love to connect.
Nice.
I'm thinking, wow. I just, you know what, in business, doing a lot in business, and so I just love to connect with with clients, with friends, do some reading, and also visit grandkids. I'm, in fact, going to be going to Dallas to watch my granddaughter in soccer.
Oh,
that's
fun.
very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, me, besides hosting the shows, I do like to take wildlife photography, do some geocaching, and I'm fanatic about wildlife. You?
You know, I have really varied interests. I love reading. I'm a voracious reader, but I also am a past figure skater, was a professional figure skater. I love dancing. I love, again, like Stephanie, being out in the public, meeting with people. I have a lot of opportunity to do that with my work, and just like staying active. So
that's cool. You know, the boomer generation has been called the me generation, has been called the crazy ones, has been called the prophets. My question to you is, are you proud to be a boomer or not?
I am. I don't have a problem owning it. I had a girlfriend that when she hit 50, it was trauma.
Oh.
I'm like, girl, own it. It's a number. I feel better in my 50s now than I did in my 20s.
Good.
So yeah.
When I was getting ready to turn 50, I knew, it's kind of the same mindset. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that. So I created a Red Hat Society.
Oh.
And if you're under 50, you're pink hats.
Oh.
So I was a pink hat for 6 months. So it gave me something to look forward to,
So now
so that I could be a red hat.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't say that I'm not proud of it, but I'm kind of, I'm at the very tail end of the boomers, so I always find that I put that disclaimer when people, when they say that, 1964 is the last year, I'm like, well, I'm just the very tail end. My parents had waited
December
to have me, then I would have not technically been a boomer. But, I'm proud of my age. I mean, I think that if I looked older than I look, then I wouldn't be so proud of it. And I feel like I've earned it, and I like you said, Stephanie, I mean, I feel happier now. I feel more secure with who I am as a person, comfortable in my own skin than I ever have. If I could go back and be 20 all over again, if I could have my experience and my brain and everything that I've got now, yes. To go back and just be 20 and live that over again?
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not even. Well, and I think the same thing is like, what we're talking about is that I don't feel, I just barely turned 55. And I do not feel 55. But it's like, where do you put the number? Is it like the new 30? Is it, it's like, I don't know what the number is. But I definitely don't
really
feel
think it doesn't matter anymore. It's how you live, right? I'm very proud to be a boomer, by the way. Rock and roll wouldn't be here without hippies. Even all this technology that we have right now, we made it possible. So the millennials today are so involved with technology and are creating some amazing things because we made it possible for them. So if there was a flag for boomers,
You've been waiting.
doing that all day long.
Maybe we need to create it.
There we go.
No problem.
The boomer flag.
Okay, but let's talk about the other side, like age, for example. Me too. I'm having a blast, and I really I was at the doctor the other day. He asked my age, and I just went 33.
And he goes, I know.
So I'm fine. But what's the downside? Are there any issues that you guys face daily, on a daily, not health issues per se, but with kids, with jobs, anything that you can say, yeah, it could be a little easier, that's kind of tough?
I think that for myself is that this last year was a year of changes. So, you know, I was expecting my mom to live to be 90s and so forth, and she passed. And then both of my kids moved back east. And so what I found was an instant empty nest. And so to redefine, you know, friendships, to really get connected again and realize that I'm creating, if you will, a new family. Versus
it was a challenge, or is it still a challenge?
It's easier. I think that there's always, you know, you traveling. This is the first Christmas that it wasn't a family Christmas, because, you know, you think, okay, we planned, you know, we're all going to get together. But my son's in New Hampshire, my daughter's in Ohio, and when you start looking at flights, it's like, seriously, we're not paying that much money for one day. And that, so we all had Christmas on our own. So it was creating, it was creating new traditions, and so I think that you get to create. You can stay in the suffering and say, "Oh, poor me," or you like turning 50. I thought, okay, I'm, you know, take, if you will, take the bull by the horns and decide what you want to create.
I think part of the challenge too, because I'm an empty nester. My son moved out and graduated high school, and so both my kids are gone now, and they're doing great. But it's like now I have all this time to myself, and I'm kind of at times bored. I'm at times lonely, and I find myself getting involved more in politics, in, you know, the Chamber of Commerce, which we're involved with, and doing extra things that I didn't have time to do when my kids were growing up. And so it's been kind of fun to refocus on, like, well, what's really important to me? What do I get to do now? What do I get to experience? And, you know, especially being, you know, approaching 50, being single, it's like, it's a whole new world. And, you know, there's nights when I'm, you know, hibernating, it's wintertime, and I'm home watching HGTV, working on my laptop, and I'm like, I need to get out more. And then there's nights I'm out, you know, dancing till dawn. So you know, it's kind of fun to not have to worry about kids, not have to worry about spouse, not have to worry about anyone but me. And you know, I'm really embracing it. But there's times too when it's, you know, it's lonely. So, so it's
Stephanie,
I can find it being a challenge. I have a 15-year-old daughter. We waited 15 years before we decided to have kids. She's my only, and it's a challenge because all of her friends' parents are in their late 30s or early 40s. And they're still ramping up and doing things, and I'm like, okay, look, I'm 50 and I'm tired. and my daughter's like, let's stay up till 1 or 2 watching movies. I'm like, if I make it to midnight, it's good. You know, go. So that can be a challenge when you hit the later years. And I want to spend time with my husband. I want to go do things for us versus going and doing what the younger generation's doing. So that can be a challenge.
Yeah, it is for sure. For me, I think my biggest challenge is my mother lives in another country, and she's, you know, advanced age, and I can't say I am the caregiver for her, but of course I play a role there, and that's very challenging every single day, because I know every new morning I'm older and she's older, and we are far apart, so I think that's the biggest challenge. Now, they say that the boomers were very crazy at their beginning years, right? And we all know that. I don't know. 64, I don't know. I had our crazy years.
You just not talk about my crazy years, okay? I'm responsible. I've grown up.
That's right. But now, what's called our winter, we start becoming more worried about the legacy that we are going to leave. And you know, for myself, I can say that happened to me, very crazy, not so crazy, and worrying now about my legacy. What's your take on that?
You know, I think that's something that has, I don't want to say plagued, but it's a part of progression and maturation. I mean, anybody from any era is going to go through that. Our kids are going to go through that when they hit our age. And I think you get to the point where you've had your 15 minutes of fame, you've had your career milestones, you've had your children, and then you go, well, what is my legacy? You know, you start to come to terms with your own mortality, and you're like, I need to leave something, you know, something to my kids, my grandkids, and not just monetarily, but a legacy, something that you're passionate about. And I think that's what we get to explore as we move into those years, is like, what is that going to look like for us? What are we passionate about? For me, I've started producing documentary films, and so that's my legacy that I want to
Really?
leave.
That's very cool.
Is be able to really, you know, I feel like it's one of the last free bastions of free speech, and I feel like that's something that I want to really pioneer and hopefully leave some legacies of films that my kids can look back on.
Fantastic. So. We need to do an interview about documentaries. I love documentaries. You guys?
Leaving a legacy, yeah, it makes a big impact. I want to know. I want to leave, when I leave this planet, what did I leave better? What have I done? How many lives have I touched or turned around? And being involved in the Chamber of Commerce has allowed me that connection and allowed me to grow my amount of friends and connections regardless of where we are. And I've made many career changes over the past 10, 15 years of my life, but I still keep that consistency of good friends, because that to me is very important.
And I find with myself too that I think that you face it with, you know, your 30s and then his 40s and, you know, in the 50s and so forth. And I was thinking even the other day, it's 55 and it's like, you know, you want to say, okay, there's a good 10 years of really enjoying working and being out there and creating and what do I want to create? And what they always say is that, you know, when you're on your deathbed, it's always those questions, did I live, did I love, and did I matter? Oh, and, you know, so I want to be able to say, yes, I loved and I lived and I mattered. And so I created a book this last year and then also doing smart TV. You know, so yeah, I think you leave the legacy within your children.
True.
Yes, true.
I like that. Now about the love part. So you guys are married, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're not. Explain the flower in your hair.
Well, I was mentioning earlier that the flower on the right side does mean you're single. I know some people would say a ring on the right side means you're single, but again, that's kind of a cultural thing. But you know, in Polynesian history, if you wore it on the right side, it was single. The left side, you were married, so guys could identify you easily. So this is like, you know,
I'm going to buy a bouquet.
Yeah, I'm not sure 12 dozen, you know, a dozen roses on the right ear is going to be as effective.
Yeah, but it says desperate. What about dating?
What about dating?
Yeah.
Do I have to disclose all my secrets?
You can give me some tips afterwards. Some tips.
If I was that successful at dating, I would not be single right now. So.
Okay, so let's change this.
Maybe we should talk to these ladies about dating.
Yeah, how did you stay married?
Yeah, one thing I can say is going on 38 years, married very young, and so, you know, we've grown up together, if you will. Yeah. But I think that there's also, you know, a friend said that you know, you always say the pasture's always greener on the other side. And he said the pasture is always greener where you tend it. Oh, and my husband and I separated for a few weeks and so forth. And I was in my friend's basement and I thought, this is it. You know, because you kind of think, oh, you know, if I was single and I did, you know, I could be doing all these things. And it's like, no, that's not really the truth. And so we had a good conversation and, you know, and mended some things. And yeah.
And you're back together.
Back together, yeah. So.
What about you, Stephanie?
I'll be 30 years this April.
Wow.
It hasn't been an easy journey. I mean, I really think waiting to have a child so late in life, I saw patience, I had more understanding. And I could come to terms with things a lot easier. And I've learned that with my husband. And we still date each other. We still have time for each other. We talk daily about everything. And we can have more in-depth conversations than we've ever had when we were in our 20s. And really get to the heart and root of how we feel about things. Because we do have a daughter that we want to take care of and leave a good legacy for her. So I think marriage is fun, but it's work.
Yeah,
it's
work. Is a lot of work, I know. One last question. We are called the me generation because people say boomers are very self-centered. Okay, I cannot express an opinion about that because I am totally self-centered. So what do you guys think?
I want to say we're self-aware.
Nice.
There you go.
You know, because
I don't think we're self-centered. I think if anything, our generation is the one that's really, again, leaving that legacy. We're really giving back. If you look at what we give philanthropically, the people that are within the boomer ages, you know, 46 to 64 as boomers, we probably give 90% of the money that's given to charities. So you can't say that we're a me generation.
True.
You know, the self-awareness, I would totally agree with that.
The amount of new businesses that are opened by boomers every day that provides jobs for other people. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so since we are not self-centered,
I want this group anyway.
No, I think it's just a snippet of how many dimensions the life of a boomer has today. So I want to really thank you guys for being here. And we are going to go deeper into these topics in the next few episodes. Thank you.
Well, every now and then in life, we run into some mobility issues, right? We may have a broken foot, gout, knee replacement, things that are actually pretty common with boomers. Let me show you a very cool gadget that I found that just makes that a little bit easier when you're coming out of your car. It's this little thing here called Car Caddy from standard.com. Very, very simple to use. I only have to put the window down and clip the thing, right? And adjust to my height. And I have something that is very resistant and I can use to get out of the car. Okay, so for example, now I just do this. And see, I have all the support to move my body out of the car. So it's a very simple, cool tool, very easy to use. You can live on your window, can work with the window up or down, and every time you need, you have that extra support to get out of your car.
What about thinking positive? There are many benefits of having positive thoughts. One of them is every time you're thinking about something good, you're creating images in your brain. And the images talk to the reptilian brain, where we host emotions and actually make most of our decisions. So that alone is a huge benefit. But positive thinking also affects the body. And some studies have shown that they affect much more. For example, they increase lifespan. Who doesn't want to live more? I know I do. And by thinking positive, you're most likely to live longer. Lower rates of depression, which is very important. Lower rates of distress. So fantastic when you have a bad day to exercise and try some positive thinking. Creates resistance to common cold. Can you think about that? You have a flu, a common cold, and you start thinking positive and you get better soon. So why not try that? Better psychological and physical well-being, reduce risk of cardiovascular disease. Look how important that is. And better coping skills during hardships and stress. Yes, we all have our bad days, our bad weeks, even our bad years, but it's important to keep thinking positive so you can overcome that and also benefit your own body. So, what are you going to do today? Think positive.
Today, I want to invite you to know a very fun activity that I myself found about 2 years ago and got totally hooked on that. I didn't know it was a hobby and I didn't know it was practiced by so many people. It's called birding. When we watch birds, we can watch birds from anywhere, including our own backyard. It's not only fun, you can use for different purposes, but it's very important. Actually, there is a term, citizen science, when we count birds in a local area and report this, so we can know the migration patterns, if they are disappearing or not. It's really, really important, but it's very fun. I do it mostly for wildlife photography. No matter the reason why you're going to get hooked on birding, I want to invite you to watch a documentary my daughter and I made about birding. I'm sure after this 2-minute documentary, you're going to be totally hooked on that.
1 o'clock. You guys are straight out in front of you now, about 25 yards. Mallers and shovelers on the left. I started birding about 40 years ago.
I've been birding about 7 years.
Previously since '97, when I was getting ready to retire. I decided to get into this hobby big time. My husband bought me a scope.
Let's see, I started when I was about 17, so 22 years.
The very intensive period's been the last 5 years, but the years leading up to it just kept an interest in birds.
No, I just would see like the daily rhythm, the daily movements of birds around the lake, and that's what kind of got me interested. And then I just used to come out here and ride my bike, and it was kind of a gradual immersion. especially when you're outdoors a lot by yourself, you start to pay attention to sounds and just what's around, and it's a state of mind, I guess.
For me, it's to appreciate the diversity of the wildlife. I enjoy not only the difference in appearance, but I think more particularly the difference in behaviors, flight patterns, migratory patterns, those kinds of things. It's the diversity that attracts me.
In the habitats, you just see things that you wouldn't see at the computer. I'm sorry. When you're seeing it for real, when you can smell it, when you can go places. We travel, actually, to bird.
I had a fascination with birds. When I was a little boy, I was fascinated they could fly and I couldn't.
Oh, they're very beautiful. I keep learning more all the time, and I'm an inveterate student, so I always like to learn.
I want people to be aware of the world they live in, whether it's birds or plants or anything. I mean, awareness is what makes us human. Consciousness and knowledge, and if we lose that, then we lose our humanity.
Backyard birding is great. You can start in your backyard. Just the plants in your yard, if they have berries or seeds of any kind, putting out water is the easy way to start. Birds they need to bathe to take care of their feathers, even in the winter, and that draws birds in.
This episode of Boomerology Revealed is brought to you by Stander, your best option for mobility products. Be independent with Stander.com.